before I start doing a whole bunch of editing, typically what I do is I split my audio track from my video track and replace it with a clean audio track. Now, the reason I'm doing this before I do a whole bunch of editing, it typically involves me clipping part of the video as well. And once I start cropping my video, it's much harder to match up my audio afterwards, because one of the things I will edit out is that clap sync I have talked about before, which is so important. But obviously, as I work towards my finished video, I don't want that clap that I'm producing visible on the video. So I want to do all my audio editing to my video before I start doing any other editing. So I'm going to just take you through of how I do this. It's quite simple of a process. It can be a little bit overwhelming. There's a few steps to it, but once you have done it a few times, it will become second nature, and it's really the same thing over and over and over. So I'm just going to take you through what I do with all my videos. We already have our video clip on the bottom here, on the bottom track, which is track 1. And I'm just going to rename this track now. I just right click and go to rename track, and I'll call this my video track. And my track 2, I'm also going to rename, and I'm going to call that my audio track. And as we have discussed in Audacity earlier, we have cleaned up the audio track for this particular video. I have recorded it as a separate track with my Yeti mic. So I'm just going to go in here and take my audio. Same process as you have done before with the video. We click with our left mouse button on a track, on a clip in the clip bin, in this case the audio track. And we're just going to drag this onto the audio track here. And what we can see is we have a high spike here, and we have a high spike here, and then we have a few little spikes here. So one of the things we're going to do, we're going to match those high levels up, and you can see what I have is a very high spike here. I have as a little lower spike here and here on my actual video track. So I'm going to just click on my video track, and I'm just going to start moving this to match it up approximately. And I'm just going to move my playhead here. So as I zoom in, I'm actually zooming in further into this area. And you can see here that it's not quite matched up. So if I were to play right now, more about that in a moment. But first I want to welcome you to our... And you can hear that our track is off by a little bit. And you can see it still. So we have kind of two voices, which is not what we want. In the end, we're going to erase the audio of the video track, so we always have just one voice. But if you don't sync it up properly, what will happen is the talking head video, the lips will not be synced to the actual words. So you want to make sure you go as accurate as you possibly can. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more here to my clap. And now I will take this and drag it as accurately as I can. There we go. That looks pretty good. We look pretty synced up. I will just zoom out a little bit again. And let's just go to an area here where we have some sound. See how it sounds. Clap. Why am I clapping? More about that in a moment. But first I want to welcome you to our sample video. That looks pretty good to me. It sounds pretty good to me. I have now a very succinct one voice sound between the two tracks. So with that being said, now we're able to erase our sound from the video track. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, maybe a little less. And the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to actually separate my audio track of the video from that video track, because I have the ability here to turn off any track, but if I turn off the video track to just keep the audio from the audio track, it also turns off the video at the same time, which is not the effect I obviously want, because I want to keep the visual part of it, just not the audio part of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my video track, and I'm going to say insert track above. And now I'm going to go and click on my track. Now, when you do this, it's really, really important that you're very conscious about not moving your track left or right. As soon as you do that, you're going to be out of sync again. So just make sure as you just click without any movement. So I'm clicking on my track, right click, and there's a little function here that says separate video and audio. And now you can see I have a second track that has my audio on it, and I can either now choose to simply turn it off, or I can actually delete it. And this is the thing we're going to do in a moment, but I just want to show you for a moment here. I'm just going to go to the area where we have some sound, and I'll just let you listen to it to see how synced it is.
Why am I clapping? More about that in a moment. I want to welcome you to our sample video.
You can hear now with both tracks on, we have the strong audio of the cleaned up audio track, but we still have the background noise that the video camera recorded with the not so good audio in our other track. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this off for a moment and let you have a listen again.
I'll be using this video as an example as I show you the different tools and techniques in Camtasia. Since you'll be seeing this video
and you can see, or you can hear, that you have a much cleaner sound now. So I'm just going to have to turn that back on in order to delete it. We now have no further use for that track. All we need to do is we need to make sure that we have the audio track with the video track together, and as we move them, I'll show you how to move those together as we keep working with that. Because otherwise you're going to get it out of sync, and once we take that clap sync away later, it'll be very difficult to get back together. So all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to right click and I'm going to remove this track, and it'll tell me that this track has media on it if I'm sure I want to remove it, and yes I am. And now we have again a very clean timeline with just the clean audio and the video without any sound. And now we're ready to do further editing, and we'll do that in the next lecture. But this is how you will split your clips, and this is how you replace your audio, and it's the same process every time you're doing a video. So once you have mastered this, it'll be really easy, and it'll take you much less time than I just showed you, of course, because you'll be doing this much quicker as you do it a few times. And feel free to come back to that lecture if you're not sure how to do it in the first few times. It's always there for you to check it again.